Hi students, this is a lecture on Oedipus Rex, and we're going to read together the prologue and the parados and also answer the questions for packet 1 together. Prologue, Oedipus. My children, generations of the living in the line of Cadmus, nursed at his ancient hearth, why have you strewn yourselves before these altars in supplication, with your boughs and garlands? The breath of incense rises from the city with a sound of prayer and lamentation. Children, I would not have you speak through messengers, and therefore I have come myself to hear you, I, Oedipus, who bear the famous name. You there, since you are the eldest in the company, speak for them all. Tell me what preys upon you, whether you come in dread or crave some blessing. Tell me, and never doubt that I will help you in every way I can. I should be heartless were I not moved to find you suppliant here. So Oedipus here is saying, what's wrong, everybody? And instead of asking everybody, he asks the priest to describe why they're outside the palace looking so distraught. And the priest responds, Great Oedipus, O powerful king of Thebes, you see how all the ages of our people cling to your altar steps? Here are boys who can barely stand alone, and here are priests by weight of age, as I am a priest of God, and young men chosen from those yet unmarried. As for the others, all that multitude, they wait with olive chaplets in the squares, at the 2 shrines of Pallas, and where Apollo speaks in the glowing embers. Your own eyes must tell you, Thebes is tossed on a murdering sea and cannot lift her head from the death surge. A rust consumes the buds and fruits of the earth. The herds are sick. Children die unborn, and labor is in vain. The god of plague and pry raids like detestable lightning through the city, and all the house of Cadmus is laid waste, all emptied and all darkened. Death alone battens upon the misery of Thebes. You are not one of the immortal gods, we know, yet we have come to you to make our prayer. As to the man surest in mortal ways, and wisest in the ways of God, you saved us from the Sphinx, the flinty singer, and the tribute we paid to her so long. Yet you were never better informed than we, nor could we teach you. It was some God breathed in you to set us free. Therefore, O mighty King, we turn to you. Find us our safety. Find us a remedy, whether by counsel of the gods or men. A king of wisdom tested in the past can act in a time of troubles and act well. Noblest of men, restore life to your city. Think how all men call you liberator for your triumph long ago. Ah, when your years of kingship are remembered, let them not say we rose but fell, later fell. Keep the state from going down in the storm. Once, years ago, with happy augury, you brought us fortune. Be the same again. No man questions your power to rule the land, but rule over men, not over a dead city. Ships are only hulls. Citadels are nothing when no life moves in the empty passageways. So here, the priest is explaining to Oedipus what it's like to be living in Thebes right now. And if you look back at lines around 25, he starts to explain that people are dying and that nothing's growing. And then he asks Oedipus on the next page if he can help save Thebes. And he reminds him of the time that he, Oedipus, helped save Thebes from another plague, which was caused by the Sphinx. The Sphinx was a monster that was eating people in Thebes because they could not solve its riddle. And Oedipus came to the city of Thebes and was able to solve the Sphinx's riddle. And therefore, the Sphinx left Thebes, and Oedipus was rewarded by being able to marry Queen Jocasta. And the reason Queen Jocasta was able to marry was that her husband, King Laius, had been recently murdered. So Oedipus responds by saying this. Poor children, you may be sure I know all that you longed for in your coming here. I know that you are deathly sick. And yet, sick as you are, not one is as sick as I. Each of you suffers in himself alone with his anguish, not another's. But my spirit groans for the city, for myself, for you. I was not sleeping. You are not waking me. No, I have been in tears for a long while, and in my restless thought walked many ways. In all my search, I found one helpful course that I have taken. I have sent Creon, son of Menesis, brother of the queen, to Delphi, Apollo's place of revelation, to learn there, if he can, what act or pledge of mine may save the city. I have counted the days, and now, this very day, I am troubled, for he has overstayed his time. What is he doing? He has been gone too long. Yet whenever he comes back, I should do ill to scant whatever duty God reveals. So here, Oedipus is saying, okay, I understand that you're suffering, and I've been trying to figure out how to fix this. And what he came up with was to send Creon, who is Jocasta's brother, to the oracle that speaks on behalf of Apollo, hoping that the oracle would have an answer as to how to end the plague. So the priest says, it is a timely promise. At this instant, they tell me Creon is here. O Lord Apollo, may his news be fair as his face is radiant. It could not be otherwise. He is crowned with bay. The chaplet is thick with berries. We shall soon know. He is near enough to hear us now. Enter Creon. O prince, brother, son of Menesis, what answer do you bring us from the god? A strong one. I can tell you great afflictions will turn out well if they are taken well. What was the oracle? These vague words leave me still hanging between hope and fear. It is your pleasure to hear me with all these gathered around us? I am prepared to speak, but should we not go in? Let them all hear it. It is for them I suffer more than for myself. Here comes the news. Then I will tell you what I heard at Delphi. The plain words the god commands us to expel from the land of Thebes an old defilement we are sheltering. It is a deathly thing, beyond cure. We must not let it feed upon us any longer. What defilement? What shall we rid ourselves of it? By exile or death. Blood for blood. It was murder that brought the plague wind on the city. So Oedipus says, Creon, what's wrong? And Creon says, Thebes is sheltering a bad person. And Oedipus says, well, how do we get rid of him? And Creon says, either by murdering him or exiling him, which is basically kicking him out of the city. And he says that it involves murder. And Oedipus responds, murder of whom? Surely the gods has named him. My lord, long ago Laius was our king, before you came to govern us. I know. I learned of him from others. I never saw him. He was murdered, and Apollo commands us now to take revenge upon whoever killed him. Upon whom? Where are they? Where shall we find a clue to solve that crime after so many years? Saying, well, where is the murderer of King Laius? And Creon says, here in this land. He said, if we make enquiry, we may touch things that otherwise escape us. He says, tell me, was Laius murdered in his house or in the fields or in some foreign country? He said he planned to make a pilgrimage. He did not come home again. And was there no one, no witness, no companion to tell what happened? They were all killed but one, and he got away, so frightened that he could remember one thing only. What was that one thing? One may be the key to everything if we resolve to use it. He said that a band of highwaymen attacked them, outnumbered them, and overwhelmed the king. Strange that a highwayman should be so daring, unless some faction here bribed him to do it. We thought of that, But after Laius' death, new troubles arose, and we had no avenger. What troubles could prevent your hunting down the killers? The riddling Sphinx's song made us all deaf to all mysteries but her own. Then once more I must bring what is dark to light. It is most fitting that Apollo shows, as you do, this compunction for the dead. You shall see how I stand by you, as I should, to avenge the city and the city's god, and not as though it were for some distant friend, but for my own sake to be rid of evil. Whoever killed Laius might, who knows, decide at any moment to kill me as well. By avenging the murdered king, I protect myself. Come then, my children, leave the altar steps, lift up your olive boughs. One of you go and summon the people of Cadmus to gather here. I will do all that I can. You may tell them that. So with the help of God, we shall be saved, or else indeed we are lost. Let us rise, children. It was for this we came, and now the king has promised it himself. Phoebus has sent us an oracle. May he descend himself to save us and drive out the plague. So now that we are finished reading the prologue, let's go back and look at the packet questions. So first, you have 3 words you need to define. Those words are supplication, oracle, and compunction. So pause the video now and use dictionary.com or some other dictionary app or an actual dictionary to go ahead and look up those words. The first question asks you to describe Oedipus's character. So throughout the prologue, how do you view Oedipus? Is he mean, nice, caring, distant? Okay, so now we're going to look at question 2, which asks you about the metaphor that the priest uses to describe Thebes. And that's from line 25 to 27. A metaphor is a comparison between 2 unlike objects without using words like or as. So it's an implicit comparison. So the priest is saying that Thebes is on a sea. What would be on a sea? Think about that. And now the comparison says that Thebes is facing a storm. What's the storm? It's not an actual storm, but what is Sophocles saying the storm is like in the comparison? So try to jot that down for number 2. Number 3 asks you to look at lines 96 to 100 to determine what Creon reports back to Oedipus about what he heard from the oracle. So what's causing the plague, and how are the Thebans supposed to get rid of the plague? Now we're at number 4. Number 4 asks, how many witnesses were there to King Laius' murder? It's very important in the course of the story. And the answer is from lines 121 to 122. So all the answer is for number 4 is a number. Now if you look at lines 134 to 144, this is where Oedipus vows to the city of Thebes about what he's going to do about the murderer living in Thebes. So look over the passage from 134 to 144. What does Oedipus promise the people of Thebes? Number 6 is one of my favorite questions because this play is full of dramatic irony. And if you remember, dramatic irony is when the audience knows something that a character does not know. And during the time of ancient Greece, the Greeks would have known that Oedipus did in fact fulfill the prophecy about him. And the prophecy was that he would kill his father and marry his mother. So, because they know this, there's so much dramatic irony throughout the story because Oedipus has no idea that King Laius was in fact his father and that Queen Jocasta is his mom. He does not know this. So go through and look through the prologue and find examples of dramatic irony. List the quote and the line numbers. Look for things where Oedipus says something about King Laius like, I've never met him before. False. You have met him before. When you met him, you killed him. That concludes this lecture on Oedipus Rex about the prologue and the parados.